just wanted to pop on here today and give you guys sort of like an end of summer garden tour. I can't believe that it's already September. I was in the store the other day and went down the card aisle and realized that Halloween is right around the corner. Like, what the heck happened? We've been in a vortex for the last 6 months. It doesn't even seem real. But anyway, I just wanted to pop on here and give you guys a little end of summer garden tour. Hosted by Ted. Ted, what have you got to say for yourself? Well, if you guys remember, I did have a bed full of kale over here, and I've pulled that out because the groundhog seems to have eaten all of my kale. I came back from a vacation last week from visiting my mom in Florida, and there was nothing left to my kale except for stalks. So, be careful what you wish for. He had been eating my lettuce, and I'd wished that he would just move on to the kale because I had such an abundance of kale, and I got my wish. So all of my kale was nothing but sticks when I came back from vacation, so I just sort of pulled that out. Not to mention I did have sort of a white fly infestation, so it was better off that he ate it. He was coming in underneath that fence, and I haven't seen him in the week that I've been back home. So I kind of think he got too fat and he can't fit under the fence anymore because I haven't seen him and he hasn't been eating any more of my stuff. So I guess he fattened himself up on all my kale. Tomatoes are still green and hard as can be. I'm really not sure why they didn't ripen. It's already September and I still have green tomatoes hanging on here. Hey, Ted. Hey, Teddy. How's it going? Hi, kitty cat. Look at you. Me and Ted are going to win $1,000. I got an email from the place that I adopted Ted, from Tabby's place, and they are in sort of like this contest in conjunction with Petco that the best adoption story will win $1,000. So I submitted my Little Ted Riding Hood adoption story with this kitty cat, and I think we have a pretty good chance of winning because, Ted, your story is the best story. From rags to riches, he's now retired. Living in the garden. Alright, so let's talk about this garden as we wrap up summer. My experiences. My first time garden in the earth, not in containers like I did last year. It started out pretty good, but it ended up not so good. When I think back to my actual harvests that I got from this gigantic garden, it really wasn't that much. I mean, the tomatoes was probably the thing that I planted the most of because I love tomatoes and I wanted an abundance of tomatoes, and as you can see, they are still, as of September 1st, green and hard and have not ripened. And you know, the thing about these tomato plants, like, I never imagined that they were going to grow to be like 7 feet tall. I mean, I don't know if you can see. These tomato plants are taller than me. I mean, look at this. Not that I'm really that tall, but still, like, I never imagined that these tomato plants were going to grow to be 8 feet tall. And when that storm ripped through here a couple weeks ago, that was the straw that broke the tomatoes back. Tropical storm, look what's happening. This big giant tree. Everything's just tipping over. Then after a week away, everything was looking pretty bad. My sister was here and she watered the garden and took care of it, you know, as the best she could. But like, you know, as far as trying to fix things that were already destroyed, it just wasn't happening. So I really did pluck out a lot of these spindly, broken tomato plants, and this is kind of what I'm left with. But surprisingly enough, eggplants grew even under the worst circumstances with my the sucking beetles infestation that I had, I'm really surprised how well these eggplants took. But the squirrels do like to steal eggplants, I've learned, because I came out here this morning looking for yet another eggplant that was growing, and that was gone. So the squirrels do love to eat my eggplants, and I gotta tell you, the one thing that is absolutely exploding, and I don't even know what to do with all of these jalapenos. Well, actually, I do know what to do with them. I'm going to show you guys how to make jalapeno jelly, which is just amazing. It's sort of like a sweet chili sauce that you can put on pretty much anything. It's amazing. And because what the heck else am I going to do with all of these jalapenos? We've already made jalapeno poppers, and I showed you guys how to do that in the last video. That was the recipe from 86 Eats. So if you guys have like tons of jalapenos like I do, you've got poppers to make, and then I'm going to show you how to make the jelly after we finish this little end of summer garden tour. So yeah, I've got tons of jalapenos, even more of them, like here. They're just like everywhere. Jalapenos are so easy to grow. You can grow them in containers too if you have like a little patio section that gets a lot of sun. So jalapenos are definitely easy. Swiss chard is easy. Kale is super easy. Eggplants have turned out to be pretty easy despite the horrible conditions that I had. Honestly, that was really about it. I was sort of disappointed in my beans this year. I mean, they did okay. I actually have like a gallon bag full of beans in the freezer, because they sort of get ready to pick at all different times. So I might only get like 5 beans today, 4 beans tomorrow, 10 beans the next day. And so I just started collecting them up into a freezer bag and stuck them in the freezer so that I have a decent amount to actually make a recipe with. So they did okay. The cucumbers actually did really well too. So, I don't know, I'm saying like I was disappointed in my harvest, but I have to say throughout the season, I did get a pretty good amount of things. I did not have to buy one single tomato all summer long, which was the goal. Even though they didn't ripen on the vine, I did pluck them. They ripened inside on the counter. So, I mean, that wasn't a complete loss. I did get quite a lot of cucumbers, so that was pretty satisfying. The eggplants, and I showed you guys my eggplant parmesan lasagna recipe, which is what I turned those into, so that was awesome. We've got jalapeno poppers, jalapeno jelly, and I think that's really all that I grew, right? All of my herbs went to flower so early in the season, so that was a disappointment too. But so yeah, I mean, I'd have to say, I guess my garden experience was pretty good for my first garden this year, despite the conditions and the horrible dirt that I was battling from day one. So yeah, I did learn a lot. I'm looking forward to planting again next year. But as for today, that's my end of garden tour. Let's get into the kitchen and make some jalapeno jelly. So I actually decided not to film the making of this jelly. It's actually not even my recipe anyway, so I thought I'll just link to it below if you guys are interested in making this recipe. And be sure to check out all of those recipes that I named, like the eggplant parmesan lasagna for one. It is freaking amazing, and not to mention 86eats.com for those jalapeno poppers. So if you have an abundance of jalapenos like I did, let me know what you're doing with them, because those were the only couple of things I can think of to actually use them for. So, alright, thanks a lot guys for watching. I will catch you again really soon. Until next time, happy vegan baking. Bye for now.